All right. We are live. I'm going to try to do something real quick. Hang on. I got to get a link. All right, here we go. I hate this part of lives because you're like, I'm joining, but then like he's not talking. He's just clicking stuff. He's clicking stuff. Okay? All right. So this is going to be a quick teaching session on movement. I'm not going to show you movements. We're going to talk about when movement is not medicine, and how it is medicine, and where a lot of people go wrong when it comes to using exercise, using things outside of rehab to build strength and get out of pain. Like, that's the biggest thing, is overcome the fear of exercise, overcome the fear of doing what you love to do, getting back into the gym, building strength, getting stronger, whether your goal is to be yoked or it's just to get back to just normal life and be able to do that chronic pain free. Movement is key. Movement, in a sense, is medicine. I think it's a very blanket statement to say movement is medicine, go move more. So today we're going to talk about when movement is not medicine and how to know if what you're doing is going to be the reason why you stay in pain. So if you're watching the replay, let me know where you're watching from. Out of the U.S., in the U.S., doesn't matter. If you're watching live here, if you have any questions, why don't we kind of dive into this? Happy to answer questions kind of as they roll out at the end of it. But we're just going to dive in. So the first element I want you to look at when it comes to when movement is not medicine is understanding what movements are causing pain. That's something that's massively overlooked when it comes to building strength and getting or reducing your sensitivity, is understanding what type of pain or what type of issues you're having with movement. We often, this is, what's his name? Stuart McGill kind of uses the term pain triggers, right? We have these pain triggers. We have things that we do on a daily basis that cause pain, that cause issues. Let me click out of this thing. This is getting on my nerves. We have things that cause issues or cause sensitivity. And that's a huge thing for people, right? People don't understand or don't really kind of acknowledge the fact that there are things that they do that cause pain, that cause this sensitivity. So understanding what movement you're doing now that could be keeping you sensitive. I want to make sure real quick. All right, cool. Make sure it's live. Cool. So stretching, for example, is a form of movement that people use or that people are given to do for relief, do for their pain, and it doesn't help, right? They think it does. It gives them this false sense of relief or false sense of help, but it doesn't give them lasting relief. So in this situation, I don't believe, in my experience, that stretching is a situation where movement is medicine. That type of movement, stretching, is not a form of pain relief or a form of safe or healthy movement, right? Then you have to look at your routines. If we're talking about understanding the movements that are causing your pain, routines are something that is huge for people who are in pain now, who are trying to get back into the gym or get back onto the trails or get back on their mountain bike or wherever their situation may be, whatever they're trying to get back to. They're kind of hung up on their routines. They have a morning routine that lights their fire, that lights their pain trigger, that causes sensitivity, or it takes their sensitivity throughout the day and it causes issues. So looking at your routine, like, this is the number one thing, is, again, understanding the movements and the issues that you do throughout the day that are causing you pain. And the first thing to look at are your pain triggers. What do you do right now that causes pain? Is it bending over? Is it twisting? Is it putting your shoes on? Is it putting your pants on? And understand what that is and making note of them, because in the future, what you're going to do is slowly remove those pain triggers or slowly take them away and modify them to give you more of a chance to heal and to get better. Okay. I've got them written down here so I don't forget them. So if I keep looking down, that's why. So the next one would be is to learn to move with more awareness. So what does this look like? What are examples of moving with more awareness? So one of the things that stands out the most, probably the most simple that you can start approaching now, is like the way you hip hinge, right? The way you use and load your hips during exercise or during any kind of daily activity. Typically, when we're dealing with someone who has an issue with pain or a sensitivity, they tend to just kind of bend over or twist or extend just recklessly, not really thinking about, the repercussions of it, not thinking about how often to do it or how carelessly they do it. That's one way of looking at it, like how much do you bend over and not hip hinge. The next thing would be like, depending on how deep you are in your chronic pain, a lot of times people will default to their lower back being their core. So instead of bracing their abs, they kind of tend to let their low back take that load and take that basically take the load of the actual exercise. So you have an issue with not just your core not being engaged, but now you're training yourself to think that the low back is what should be taking the load. So you kind of take this chest out, butt out approach with exercise, whether you're squatting or deadlifting or lunging, whatever it may be, where you are now moving with less awareness of what's causing you pain. So you have to look at that. You have to look at your hip hinging. You have to look at things like overarching, overextension, low back. I mentioned the chest out, butt out situation where people kind of default into smashing their low backs into extension, and that's giving this sense of tightness or tension that really isn't what they need, right? They need to give themselves more core structure and less low back activation, okay? So that's the second one. If any of these resonate with you and you want to kind of dive deeper into point number 1, go back and watch that, or point number 2, let me know in the comment section whether you're watching the replay. I know, what time is it? It's lunchtime. It's 12:30. People are eating lunch right now. But if you're tuning in now, if you're tuning in later, and you want to dive deeper, have any questions on the first 2 points or this point here, just in the comment section, let me know what the question is or how you can apply it or how you're looking to apply it to your situation, and maybe we can help out a little bit. Third one, and I think it's the most, this is hands down the most, and this is the final point, hands down the most important element to understanding when movement is medicine and when movement is no longer medicine, as in what you're doing is causing you pain, like how you're moving is causing you pain. It's knowing when to move forward and when to move back, right? When to dial things up, when to dial things back. This is a very common, very basic, like entry-level issue that people have, is they don't know when to or how to navigate their pain or how to navigate their exercise or their daily routines. And what I want to give you is a tip that is super powerful, that works really, really well. And I've talked about it here on this channel before. I've talked about it in the website. If you're a newsletter subscriber, I've talked about it there as well. And it's a habit of consistency. Despite how you may be going up and going down in your pain levels, you could be highly sensitive one week and have really like 3 or 4 straight days worth of feeling really good. And what typically people do is they wait for those good days and they go all in on those good days, versus being consistent across the board, where they have good days and they're up here and they're in, or I'm sorry, bad days where their pain is high and they are just going about life, doing their activities, doing their exercises, doing their chores, and regardless. And then when they have good days, they try to fit it all in. Like it's like a backwards yo-yo. You're not following the path that's going to give your body the best chance of getting out of pain. So what I always tell people to do is you have an uptick in pain where your pain is high, and you have a downtick. You have a valley where your pain is lowest, where you're feeling the best. It could be a day, 2, 4, 3 days, 4 days. When it's here and when it's here, you have to find a spot in the middle to focus. That is where you should be, because what you don't want to do is over push your pain threshold. During this time, you've got to know what's working, what's not working. Are your 2-mile walks a day working for you? Are they not working for you? Are the stretches that you're doing, are they working for you? Are they not working for you? You won't know if you wait until you have good and bad days. So instead of only going to the gym on your good days, you have to go, not every day, because I don't believe that everyone should be working out every day. You don't need to do that. But at least 3 times a week, you're doing it consistently. Yes, what you do in the gym because of your pain might change, might go up and down, but you're still wanting and trying to be and aiming to be consistent. Now, the second trick or key that I want to give you when it comes to consistency and knowing when to go up, when to go back, is your pain level. A thing that I always reference all the time is a 4 out of 10 pain. I think that is a safe place. It's backed by research. If you're a researcher and you like science, lots of studies have been done based off of using the pain scale, where basically you are grading your but you're grading your pain, you're grading your ability to go forward based off of the level or the intensity of your pain. So if your pain is at a 7 out of 10, that's too high, and you shouldn't be operating on that level. So whatever you're doing, whether it be chores, whether it be activity outside, your hobbies, whatever it may be, is you're above that 4. So if you're above that 4, you've got to dial yourself back and bring yourself back down. So if your 2 miles are taking you to that 4, but 3 miles takes you to 5 or 6, you got to keep it back 2.5 miles and stay there until you can safely progress into that higher level or into that further distance or harder workouts, harder exercises, or kayaking longer or hiking longer, whatever your activity is that you're trying to do. You've got to make sure that you can do that without increasing or breaking that barrier of that 4 out of 10 pain. Those are the 2 biggest things when it comes to this last point that you've got to focus on, is being consistent, looking at your consistency. How consistent are you? And then at what pain level are you allowing yourself to operate in? How high are you taking yourself in pain to kind of deal with that? So this is something that I talk heavily about in way more detail and with tons of actionable steps. Like before you even get into really diving into understanding what's causing you pain, how you're going to get out of pain, like what is your specific strategy to get out, because you don't need a rocket scientist to build a strategy for you, right? What you need is information that's going to help guide you and take you from where you are now to getting a better understanding of why you're here, where you're at right now, and then specifically for you, what you're going to apply both mechanically, as in movement, and non-mechanical, as in the mind-body connection. So these points are kind of like the tip of the iceberg that is of a topic that I talk deep inside of Relief Academy. If you, I've mentioned Relief Academy before in the past. It's currently closed right now to new students, but this week I am opening it back up. What I'll do is in the comment section, there's not. Boom. In the comment section to this video, I'm going to add a link to the waiting list. If this is something where you're like, you know what, like I need help understanding what my issue is, right? I've tried stretching, I've tried exercising, I've done the rehab, I'm still doing my rehab-based exercises. I'm doing all these things, and something's not sticking, something's not giving me lasting relief, or the relief that I experience is very short term. Eventually you have to break this rehab mentality, right? Where you're just constantly thinking about, I have to rehab my back, I have to go to PT, I have to go to a chiro to like fix something so that I can kind of get back into where I want to be. It's not that complicated. You don't need that much rehab focused type. If you've been through it, if you're post-surgery and you're on your way out and you've been released back into the world and they're like, yeah, you're good, this is as much as we can do for you, now you're kind of on your own. If that is you and you have no idea what to do, Relief Academy is a strong resource that I would highly look at. Now, It's not open right now. I'm just basically kind of giving all this week. I'm going to be teaching different points from that course. You'll be kind of getting a tidbit of each thing that's going to be coming from that course. But in the link in the description box below this video is a link to the waiting list. You can jump on that and you'll get some information based off of when the course is open, when Relief Academy is actually taking on new students. It should be opening up this Wednesday, so you'll be getting notified of it by that time. Jump on the waiting list. If any questions that you have on this topic we talked about today, let me know. I got some more content coming to you this week, so make sure you check back, and I will talk to you later.